Kia ora, this is 3 News. Several flights from Sydney to New Zealand have had to divert to avoid airspace above where 3 Chinese naval ships were preparing for live fire exercises. Pilots of commercial airlines, including Air New Zealand, were warned about the possible drills. The New Zealand frigate Te Kaha has been shadowing the ships in the Tasman Sea, and Prime Minister Christopher Luxon has spoken to his Australian counterpart about the development. Senior reporter Juliet Speedy has the latest.
Air Force and naval assets from New Zealand and Australia are closely monitoring the 3 Chinese ships operating 277 kilometres off the coast of Sydney. And the ships' activities have been impacting commercial flights across the Tasman after they were said to be doing live fire drills, although neither government has seen proof the live firing actually occurred.
There certainly was no risk or danger to any New Zealand or Australian assets. Having said that, I'd just say good practice is that normally we would have 24 to 48 hours notice, and more importantly, maybe there might be a better place to do some live fire drills other than below what is a very busy international airspace.
The ships are well outside Australia's territorial waters, but inside its exclusive economic zone. Their presence is legal, but some commentators have labelled it an aggressive demonstration of power and control, and a sign of what's to come. Our Prime Minister didn't use that language, but he's keeping a close eye on developments.
What we are seeing is something very different here with the configuration of a destroyer, a cruiser and a frigate and a refueler.
It's been reported that pilots on an Emirates flight from Sydney to Christchurch were contacted directly by the Chinese military and told to avoid the airspace over the ships off the Australian coast, and that air traffic control then told Qantas and Air New Zealand to do the same. Emirates told 3 News when a change in airspace activity was detected, the flight deck crew on EK412 made a slight routing deviation as per standard industry protocol and in conjunction with air traffic control to maintain optimal safety margins. Air New Zealand said it had modified flight paths where necessary to avoid the area, with no impact on its operations. Neither Australia nor New Zealand have been told by China why the 3 ships are in the Tasman or what their plans are. Luxon and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese are in regular contact about it, including a phone call yesterday.
We acknowledged they're well within the bounds of international law and international water. We both probably agreed that it would have been more advantageous and good practice, frankly, to have got the 24 to 48 hours notice period.
China's ever-expanding reach in the Pacific is raising further questions about New Zealand's security, like whether we should join AUKUS.
Not at all. AUKUS is actually playing into China's hands. And AUKUS justifies the Chinese narrative that they're confronted by countries with a Cold War mentality, trying to contain China and prevent it rising as a great power. Actually, China's not the only threat to the rules-based international order which New Zealand depends.
Because Patman says a new kind of threat could be coming from the United States.
And in breaking news, the New Zealand Defence Force has reported that the Chinese Naval Task Group advised of a second window for live firing activity this afternoon. Defence Minister Judith Collins advised they'd had confirmation that personnel on the New Zealand frigate Te Kaha observed live rounds being fired from the main gun of one of the warships. Defence is working with the New Zealand Civil Aviation Authority to ensure all aircraft are notified. The safety of all people, aircraft and vessels in the area remains the government's main concern, and they'll continue to be in close contact with Australian authorities. The government says its concerns over notification times will be communicated appropriately.